Hello, children of the night, and welcome to Tarot Nights with the Hanged Empress. Here we do shadow work following the moon.
Yo, VI, play the beat.
Hello, Gemini moon. Is it time for some side quests? Feels like side quests. But it also feels a lot like just taking everything, all of the good things, all of the good moments, experiences, and thoughts, and all of the darkness and experiences and thoughts, and we're just putting them all into a cauldron right now and stirring them up, and it's just kind of mixing into this mesh of like not good, not bad. It's just moving. It's just moving around. And we're moving through each part, and it doesn't feel like friction. It feels more fluid. It's not like stirring rocks around in the cauldrons. It's all broken down now. And I think maybe that's why I was visualizing so heavy before I came into this on the mud rain, because this does happen. Swear to the gobs, I've seen it plenty of times, especially early spring when we get these really intense storms and warm-ups and there's a lot of wind moving around. We get occasionally mud rain. Rain and precipitation is usually associated with cleanliness, purifying energies, and cleansing and clearing. But what happens when you get mud rain? When the rain falling from the sky is actual pure mud that's coming down. Like, what is that? Why? I haven't even like looked into the specific reasons. My take on it is that there's just so much intense weather of different variations and different temperatures and things that are happening, and with the heavy and high winds that we get, it's just pushing all of that dust around, and it's collecting and accumulating up in our rain clouds. So what comes down is just this, like, that water source, but it's got a lot of dust attached to it, and all of that dust and dirt is coming down. What do? Well, it's mud rain. You can't clean nothing with it. Everything's gonna be kind of dirty. There's going to be clear waters. There's going to be, regular rain again. It's just every once in a while you get a little mud rain. And that's what this feels like. It feels like mud rain. I don't really know. I don't really know what we're cooking up right now. What's really, really happening, but we got like lots of stuff just turning about. There's a lot of movement, and some bubbles too. Gemini, the bubbly Gemini. It's starting to come to a boil. Yeah, we're coming up to a boil, or we're setting it down to a simmer. What's stuck? What's stuck in our minds? What are we working on? What are we trying to serve with all of these good thoughts, bad thoughts, positive emotions, negative emotions, good deeds, and self-serving deeds? What is stuck on our minds, regardless of the good or the bad that we do right now? The Ten of Pentacles. It's all about that arch, baby. It's all about that curve. It's all about that turn, the cycle. Pull it out just a little bit further. Oh, yes. You can see it all now. Visualization is a really important thing right now, which is funny because personally had not a hard time like receiving visions, but having a hard time visualizing for myself. I can like receive all of the messages in imagery. No problems there. Way too accurate and weird, to be honest. But when it comes to like projecting my own personal visualizations on my own movie screen, there's just a big black spot. It's a big blank of like what fits into this arch? What fits into this story? How can I make all of these elements and things that I have right now into something delicious and satisfying? How can I make this? What do I even know about these elements? Does it smell good? Does it look clean? Does it need to be prepared in any specific way before I put it into this pot? All questions that I personally have. And because I am me, and I am we, and you are me, and we are they, it's all the same. Once you get your perspective out there high enough. Because that's what it's all about. Our own individual spaceships is specifically the word that came into mind. So, it's all our own personal spaceships, but we're trying to create a fleet, a space fleet. Okay, moving on. We have the steampunks and we have the other cards out here. I feel like I want to tandem between them. These all fell face down. We're going to take them in a little bit of a story time and let it unfold naturally. Like, here we be standing, stirring our pot and cauldron. Sorry, the cards have to catch up to my mouth, I think is what's really happening here. And yeah, we're just coming up to a bubble right now, and once the water starts boiling, that's when we start adding our ingredients. So we're taking our time, double checking the recipe, and making sure that our ingredients are clean, are coming in clean, are going in to serve the right meal, the right purpose, the right structure. The right face is also a word. Okay, sorry, had to say that one. The right faces, which is funny because also big theme is not attaching faces. That's why there's a big black spot in my visualization like space, because I want it to be as open and as bright as the moon, but right now we're still in that new moon phase, so it's still pretty dark. We're letting it naturally illuminate and be revealed as it should. Let the story and the arc unfold as it's supposed to. Some characters you might have thought were going to be really important got killed off in the very next scene. Like, just happened, man. Okay. That hurt, but we're going. We still have the rest of this movie to get through. And taking that in stride and with patience and making sure that our ingredients are right. Oh, yeah, hey, Hierophant. Taking that in stride and with patience, because we are seasoned chefs at this point, having worked with energies and people our entire lives. You've interacted with other humans. By now, you should have a few recipes in your pocket of how to make the right meal. I'm just pointing at those keys, aren't I? Just right under the finger there is those keys. We're holding them keys. Okay, sorry. Went to a place there. That's something else entirely. For real though, the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords. chopping and preparing the vegetables, the meats, getting that seasoned water up to a boil, keeping it stirred, keeping it moving. And like keeping that momentum is very important. Whatever is in this pot will burn if you don't keep stirring it. You have to keep pushing it around because it's doing something in there, and it will clot at the bottom if we don't keep circulating it. So pay attention to something that keeps circling around, that feels like it has a density in your life. I hope you can translate this. It feels like a density because that is going to intermingle, but it is also going to need a little attention. Meanwhile, while we're stirring this pot, letting it come to a boil, chopping those vegetables and the meats down into digestible pieces. Our truths, our thoughts, our actions have to be digestible. They have to be chewable. They have to have a certain texture, a certain appeal to them in order for them to be received. You don't want to put all of this work into this thing and then present it out into the world and have people be like, yuck, meatloaf again? Oh, not meatloaf again. Ah, right? We want to spice this up. We don't want to be making meatloaf every single night. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually make a pretty good meatloaf. It's possible to make a good meatloaf. But it takes a lot of practice. You have to go through a lot of recipes. So, are you joining us? No, maybe. She's just hanging out. Like, meatloaf? Where? You made me meatloaf, Mom? Where is it? Let's go. Come on, I'm hungry. Talking about food. Way on the bottom. Oh, yeah. Now's the time. Now's the time. We gotta have a mix. We gotta have a mix. Bright, sunshiny moments, little specks and spots of joy, foundation, passion, and drive, and like bringing that all together again into the arch, into the circle, into the cauldron that we are stirring. It's not just fierce battles that need to be won. It is also finding those sweet and simple joys and bringing all of it into a balance. A 10. Yes, darling? She just wants some soup. Hey, this was at the bottom of the deck turned over. Yeah. Okay. 3 of Wands is what I was paying attention to because I was looking at the reversed side here when we were starting to reshuffle the deck, and it turned out the reduction. You lose some things in the evaporation. The fire, the cooking references, the mud water, it's all starting to make sense. There's a little bit of reduction, a little boil down that has to happen. Your pot's going to sink down just a little bit, but that's because all of the flavors are condensing, solidifying. I told you I knew there was something in there. There was a thickener in there that had to be stirred. Because we were thickening, and as we evaporated the water, it started to thicken what's in the pot. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Okay, there you go. Which we say here with this 8 of Cups energy right here with the child. Making the choice. Chosen family over the blood relatives. No, blood contracts. Not blood relatives, blood contracts. Chosen family, chosen contracts over blood contracts. Changing the shape. Moving on from the broken, dented, chipped, and leaking cups of the past. And accepting that our star might be pulling us further away from that. Whatever blood contracts we had, we might be being called away from those in some regard or another. Be choosy. There's one shining star in the sky that is falling. They're not all falling. Not every thought that you have is included in this, just for disclaimer purposes. Don't take every single thought and feeling and run with it. But you should kind of have a really good idea of what the main goal and idea is. The real thing that we're chasing after with this chariot. Going out into this field of stars here. This whole field of stars. Our destiny. There are stars all around us. But we're chasing after this one. Not because it's... I wanted to be careful with that. Not because it's like a particular face. Again. But because it's also following that arch. It's mixed in there. That star is mixed in there. Oh, I was just thinking about the Halloween oracles that I'm not going to pull out because I have a few cards out of it and in meditative places right now, so can't be used. But the bread card that was in there, it's a sweet bread that they put like trinkets in for like fortunes and whatever, like you cut out of this sweet bread, whatever pieces are in there is like your fortune, or however that plays out. So like it's, maybe we are baking a bread, a nice sweet bread, and we're throwing different like things into it. So whatever pieces in there, like it's intermixed into this pot, into this cauldron. It's getting thrown into the center of this swirling pot as it thickens. Whatever it is that we're making out of our lives at this juncture in time, it's all following this. And there's something in there. There's something in there. And we need to put ourselves fully into it, put our care, our Cancerian care into it. Put our whole selves and whole heart into this pot. Put all of your love into it. Whatever you cook, literally, not just metaphorically, literally, whatever you cook, whatever energy or intentions you have in or around this food is translated into the food. How it grows and the energies that it absorbs during its growth is translated into the food. That's why they say this wine was a really good year, this was a really bad year. Oh, why do they say that? Because this year there maybe wasn't so much rain, so the grapes were a little bit more bitter or something like that, right? So what we put into the pot and all of those things that we are mixing and mingling, you know, what kind of fertilizer are we using for those grapes? All of that, how much sunlight it got. All of those things are key influencers in how this is going to come out. And that's why I kind of wanted to steer away from the star. Let you know that it's in there, but also that star is anyone's star in this pot. This is a dish made to be served. Therefore, it's an ingredient. Its energy is going to be intermixed and mingled like stardust in the galaxy. Where do I go from there? It's like 20 minutes in. Keep cooking. Keep cooking and letting things bubble up. Trust the process. Trust your intuition and be wise and take that time to observe. I'll go back to these guys. Be wise and take that time to observe the positive and negative emotions and sit with each of them, not for too long because we do got to keep stirring. Don't let it sediment down at the bottom of the pot, but give it that time for the heat to rise up through it to get those things bubbling and cooking in the right way. And may your dish be delicious. Thanks, kids. Have a fantastic moon. We'll see you next time.